Hi everyone, I just wanted to briefly update you with my final handlebar setup. I don't know, there was never a chance to discuss this, and apparently it's a topic for a discussion. So I ended up with the same pro taper handlebar that I mentioned in my previous videos. The only change, it's not that minor, but only change is that I have installed those handlebar razors, and those are by Axel, whatever. Those are 50 millimeters, and the reason I went with those is fairly simple. I wanted to have this type of mount because it gives you the opportunity to not only adjust the angle of the handlebar itself, but you can adjust the whole mount. So as you can see, I have it slightly, maybe not slightly, I have it installed leaning forward, and that's because that gives me a better position when I ride standing. This puts this whole handlebar a bit to the front, where I can where this triangle of my hands, of my arms, somewhere in here, and my ass is fairly those sides are fairly similar in terms of the length, and this is where I feel I'm the most stable on the bike. This is how it looks from this end. I also have it the handlebar itself, it's also leaned to the front, maybe just a little bit too much. When I sit down, it feels that my hands are a bit stretched. It's just a tiny bit, but when I stand on the bike, compared to the previous setup where I only had those standard razors that came with the handlebar, it's a completely different story. Even the change that I did by moving these to the front, it's a significant change. So I will still continue to adjust and test and tweak it until I find the perfect spot. But the current setup, it's so far this is the best one. So I'm 188 centimeters tall, and to be honest, this bike is I don't think it was designed for riders with my height. It requires some compromises, and one of those is installing those razors. And to install a 5 centimeter razor, I had to release this braking wire, because it would be otherwise it would be too tensed. So to do that, you have to remove the headlamp. It's a bit of a hassle because you have to unscrew 4 screws, take this whole piece off, unscrew this one screw that holds this wire, put it all together. There's this other holding point. I also unscrewed this at the beginning, but as it turned out, there's no need for that, because that additional loops that you gain in here is sufficient for this additional 5 centimeters. The other minor thing that is worth thinking about are those throttle cables. In a current setup, combined with those handle guards, you can see that it's pretty tight. Those are squeezed in here, and there was some tension on the throttle. I mean, it's not perfect, it's not as I mean, maybe now, because I added some loop chain to it, it moves, but there was a moment where it just got stuck, which is something that I didn't want to have. I tried to adjust it in here, but that, I don't know, I probably don't know how to do it. Anyway, the current setup is like this, and it works. Yeah, that would be it. About the handle guards, I mentioned that it's not that easy to, it wasn't easy for me to install, but finally I found this the solution how to have it all installed, and it doesn't impact how the bike works. Maybe I would just improve the final result in terms of visual aspects of it. It doesn't look perfect, but it definitely works. I'll try to show you my current position on the bike, although the problem with doing that is lack of central stand, and it might not work, but more or less it will give you some idea how a rider with my height or similar could position himself on the CRF with this type of handlebar setup. So the sitting position is okay. As I said, it's a bit to the front, but that's acceptable. Everything is within my reach and I have no problems with operating it. But just try it. Standing position, it's because if you may see